Welcome back to Quick and Dirty Med School. We're going to go straight into muscles. So myology is the study of muscles. There's about 600 muscles in the body. They have a variety of functions in movement, heat production, body support, and posture. They're characterized by their irritability, which means the sensitivity to nerve impulse, contractility, extensibility, and elasticity. The muscles in the axial body is going to be your face, your neck, your trunk. The appendicular muscles are in your pelvic girdles, and your pectoral girdles up here. The muscles are attached to the bone by the tendons, and it attaches to the periosteum. Those are made out of dense, regular connective tissue, and it moves the muscle by inserting into the movable bone, and the origin is the bone that doesn't move. It is the static bone. When the belly of the muscle contracts, the gaster, that will stimulate the movement, and they can be connected to aponeurosis, which are just flattened sheet-like tendons, like here in the gastrocnemius. Here's the aponeurosis, and then it generally runs down into a tendon, and an entire group of tendons can be covered by a thin, strong band of connective tissue, which is the retinaculum. So, the connective tissue. Let's start from inside out. The endomysium surrounds several individual fibers, and they bind like the adjacent fibers together in like one small unit. And the perimysium will bind groups of the muscle fibers together into the fasciculi, and the entire muscle will be covered by the epimysium, which will be continuous with the tendon. There's a couple different fascia. So fascia are fibrous connective tissue that covers the muscle and attaches directly to the skin. And there's like two different types, the superficial and the deep. The superficial, like as you can see right here, connects to the skin, and it's characterized by some like fatty tissue, specifically the areolar and the adipose tissue. And then the deeper fascia is bound to the capsules and the tendons and the ligaments, and they form a strong fibrous network. And then they have a role in surrounding the muscles and compartmentalizing them and binding them into the functional groups. Deep to that is the subserous fascia, and those generally secrete serous fluid. So several groups. Agonist muscles are the prime movers. Synergistic muscles work together like the two heads of the biceps, and the antagonist works against, so the triceps, of course. When the agonists contract, the antagonists have to relax. There's several different muscles, and their function is characterized by their architecture. So the first one, the parallel muscles, are strap-like, like the sartorius right here. They contract over a great distance. They have a good endurance, but they're not very strong. The convergent muscles, like the pectoris muscles, they converge into one point of attachment, and they're stronger than the parallel muscles. The sphincteral muscles are concentric. They open surfaces, such as like, your eyes, your lips, and anus. There they are. The pennant fibers, they're many fibers, and they're strong muscles. They have short insertions, and they are highly dexterous, but they do tire quickly. And here's the unipennant, one direction. Bipennate, there's 2 of them. Multipennate, so the muscle fibers are in different directions, and they're in the deltoids. Fibers are elongated, multinucleated, and striated. You can see here the muscle fibers. That here are the nuclei. There's a couple here, and they have the sarcolemma, which is the cell membrane of the muscle cells, the sarcoplasmic reticulum, which are a network of membranous channels, and they have their version of the cytoplasms called the sarcoplasm, and they have a system of transverse tubules, T-tubules, that run perpendicular to the sarcoplasmic reticulum, and they open out to the sarcolemma. Myofibrils are densely packed and embedded in the fiber, and the other organelles are kind of restricted between the spaces between the myofibrils. So as you can see here, they're kind of like limited right here, right here, right here. So the fibers gain their striation from their myofibril filaments, and those are made out of actin and myosin. Actin is the thin strand, myosin is the thick strand, and the A bands are made of the light. The dark bands are A bands, and they're made out of the myosin, and the I bands are light. They only have actin, which extends into the A bands right here. So here's the A bands, I bands. H zone is the only one that's clear. Z lines go down the middle of the I band, and even though it's not shown here, the M line should be like straight down the middle of the H zone. The sarcomeres are the subunits of the Z line, and H zones only have the myosin. So in contraction, the myofibrils shorten as the Z lines are brought together, and the I band will shorten, and the H zone will shorten, and the A band will remain the same. So that's how they contract. There's 2 different kinds, isotonic and isometric. Isotonic is it is an active action. So when contract, there is movement. Isometric is when contraction is produced, but the muscle itself does not shorten. Muscle supplies, small muscles have like 1 artery and 2 veins. Large muscles have several arteries and veins. They're supplied by the motor neurons and the sensory neurons. The muscle fibers will atrophy if not periodically stimulated. Here's the neuromuscular junction. They're involved with the axon terminal, and it is articulate with the sarcolemma and the motor end plate. And in the axon, acetylcholine is stored in the synaptic vesicles over here. And a nerve impulse will come, release the acetylcholine in the neuromuscular cleft, and those will bind to the receptors on the sarcolemma, and that will initiate the contraction. So motor unit is a single motor neuron, and it innervates an aggregation or a big group of muscle fibers. So most muscles have 1 motor neuron per 100 to 150 muscles, but the dexterous muscles, like the ones in your fingers, will have innervation ratio of 1 to 10 muscles, 1 neuron per 10 muscles, and in large muscles it can be even like 1 to 500. As you can see here, here's the motor neuron. See, it's innervating a bunch. That's it. Good luck studying.